is the biggest star in boxing. Tank Davis. And joining the king of the game is Miami resident hip-hop star, influencer Ruby Rose.
Understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo.
Wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm gonna fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Facts.
Correct.
Yes. Correct.
Correct.
Things right. They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's
Greg Hackett, a well-known figure in boxing training circles for his keen eye, recently shared his thoughts on Gervonta Tank Davis. Hackett made it clear that Tank's mindset is fully dialed in. He noted that Davis isn't distracted by the spectacle surrounding the event or the constant hype generated by Jake Paul's promotional efforts. Instead, Tank is tackling the fight with sharp, focused determination. Hackett described Davis as a fighter who knows his mission inside and out and refuses to be swayed by outside chatter or distractions. He understands precisely what he needs to accomplish. This focus is reflected in reports from those close to Tank's training camp. Observers have noticed a notable change in his intensity. Davis has been highly concentrated, precise with his pad work, and relentless during sparring sessions. Training partners have described him as locked in, pushing himself beyond his usual limits, clearly gearing up for a performance meant to send a strong message rather than just a routine paycheck.
It's something for you new to do, try to keep you fresh and this and that, keep your name hot. You got to stay in the algorithms. It's just a lot of pressure on fighters. And I feel like Tank being at, what is he, 30 years old? And you got kids. See, what people forget about is it come a time in a man's life where he just wants to slow down. You know what I'm saying? We can't all run around like we used to back in the day. That's tough to do. Sometimes you just want to sit down, enjoy your fruits. And I feel like that could be what he's going through. He want to just enjoy the fruits of his labor and enjoy life. And people don't want to hear that because they feel like you got more work to do. But
those who observed Tank during the media buildup picked up on something telling. He remained calm and composed, never phased or performing for the cameras. He projected a steady, controlled energy that clearly showed he understands the significance of this moment. There was no nervousness or exaggerated bravado, just a quiet, assured confidence. For Davis, this fight goes beyond just making headlines or cashing in quickly. It's about sending a clear message. He aims to prove that regardless of how big the event is or how much hype surrounds it, true fighters with genuine skill and background can step into the spotlight and command attention. Winning here wouldn't simply add another victory to his record. It could elevate him to mainstream recognition, putting him in the same realm as popular influencers and internet celebrities, but with something they lack: authentic boxing legitimacy.
The press conference, and you can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not gonna have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road, and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and
Eddie Chambers, former heavyweight contender turned trainer, shared a thoughtful perspective on the upcoming bout between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. He reminded fans that boxing history is full of examples where the smaller fighter found ways to triumph, showing that size isn't the ultimate factor in a fight. Chambers noted that while many are focused on Jake's height and reach advantage, they often miss what really counts inside the ring: timing, fight intelligence, and the ability to execute under pressure. He brought up past fights where clever, technically skilled boxers outmaneuvered larger opponents through patience and smart movement. Though Jake may try to leverage his physical gifts to control the early stages, Chambers highlighted that Davis's quick bursts, sharp reflexes, and keen ability to spot openings could quickly neutralize that advantage. According to Chambers, boxing isn't decided by measurements on paper, but by who performs best when the stakes are highest. That's where he believes Tank's instincts could prove decisive once the fight gets underway.
That something like this can happen, but this is social media, this is what is created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot, so I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little crazy. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is gonna feel something from it. And it ain't gonna be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that, but he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. It's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out but he's gonna feel.
Timothy Bradley, former world champion and current boxing analyst, expressed a clear opinion on the upcoming fight, viewing it as a straightforward challenge for Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Bradley highlighted experience at the elite level as the major factor setting them apart. He pointed out that Tank has consistently faced sharp, technically skilled opponents who compete at championship caliber. In contrast, Jake Paul has only a few professional fights under his belt, and most of his opponents have been retired boxers or athletes transitioning from other sports. While Bradley acknowledged Jake's commitment and his role in drawing new attention to boxing, he emphasized that going up against a natural, lifelong boxer like Davis is a whole different situation. Bradley believes Tank's ring smarts, precision, and composure under pressure are in a league of their own. Once the fight gets real and punches start landing, Bradley expects Jake's lack of experience to become obvious, regardless of his size or strength. For him, this matchup represents more than just a contest. It's a battle between a fighter bred in the sport and one who stepped in later, seeking the spotlight. And that contrast, Bradley argues, gives Tank a significant edge.
You prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out, Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, all your fans can give you $1, bro. So that way you don't be shoot blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. You know, look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. The circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, you know, 1 minute they said, oh, this is the fight.
Ali Malignaggi, former world champion and respected boxing analyst, was candid in his critique of Gervonta Tank Davis. He suggested that Tank's career has been overly managed and carefully shielded, implying that Davis hasn't consistently faced truly dangerous opponents in the ring. According to Malignaggi, much of Tank's rise has come through highlight-worthy knockouts and smart matchmaking, rather than by regularly challenging the top fighters in his weight class. His comments tapped into an ongoing debate in the boxing world. Has Tank genuinely proven himself against elite competition? While many fans point to his skill, explosiveness, and finishing power as proof of his caliber, critics like Malignaggi argue that true greatness requires taking risks and facing the best. Despite the critique, few can deny Tank's star appeal. He remains one of boxing's most popular draws, celebrated for his speed, precision, and knockout power. Whether his record satisfies all critics or not, his ability to captivate audiences and generate excitement keeps him firmly in the spotlight as one of the sport's most talked-about fighters.
He's trying to clown people, but then he admits that Tank is the biggest name in Western boxing. So doesn't even make sense. Listen again.
Boxing, either the fans have gone down to the dumbest level possible, or the media themselves have gone down to the dumbest level possible for.
See, so he's already trying to roast the fans and anybody who says Tank's the face of boxing, basically calling people dumb, right? Oldest trick in the book. But then he says, I understand that Tank is probably the biggest name in the West.
Naming this guy as the face of boxing. I understand we don't have anything. The fact that
I understand we don't have anything. Keep listening.
Maybe this is the biggest marquee name in the West at the moment.
Right. Maybe this is the biggest marquee name at the moment in the West. He is the biggest name in the West. Name somebody bigger. Right? Point blank, period. So you're off to a bad start. Name calling, then you're acting like you don't understand it whilst mentioning he's the biggest name in boxing, and you're saying it's disturbing. Why is it disturbing?
It's certainly disturbing, but it also shows you that you can make anything into a
Recent buzz in boxing circles suggests that Gervonta Davis might be considering stepping away from the sport following this high-profile fight. Sources close to his team indicate that Tank's focus may have shifted. From chasing legacy to securing financial stability for the long haul, the upcoming bout with Jake Paul is expected to bring in one of the biggest paydays of Davis's career. Such a payday could give him the option to retire on his own terms, without the pressure to continue fighting. Experts see this as a strategic, business-driven move rather than one fueled by burnout or emotion. Having already earned world titles and built a large fan base, Davis arguably no longer needs to prove himself inside the ring. Still, the boxing community remains divided. Some view the retirement talk as a genuine possibility, while others suspect it's a promotional tactic aimed at boosting hype and pay-per-view sales.
And for ban on what you make it. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing, for sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you, soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates? Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're gonna come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is gonna knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight him. What does that say about
Showbiz the Adult, a prominent boxing commentator and YouTube analyst, offered a nuanced take on Jake Paul's impact in the sport. He acknowledged that Jake has brought both attention and controversy to boxing. On one hand, Showbiz credited Jake with reigniting interest in boxing, especially among younger audiences and casual fans who previously didn't engage with traditional boxing broadcasts. With his huge social media following, Jake has transformed fight promotions into major entertainment events, turning boxing matches into widely shared cultural moments that attract viewers who might otherwise never watch the sport. His influence has clearly changed how boxing is marketed and consumed. At the same time, Showbiz recognized the valid criticisms leveled against Jake. Many in the boxing community argue that he has strategically chosen opponents, often avoiding fighters who match his size or skill level. This has led purists to question how credible his boxing record really is.
Boxing is going to sing his praises like a hero. Though Jake Paul is definitely appreciated by the boxing world when it comes to what he is giving to the sport, especially women's boxing, okay? I mean, it goes without saying that Jake Paul, an MVP, has added to the sport of boxing. But Jake Paul, the fighter, people are over his shit. There's a huge amount of boxing pugilists in the boxing community who's over his shit. And if Gervonta Tank Davis stops that, if he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Too Sugar.
Daniel Cormier, former UFC champion and respected analyst, shared a blunt and candid opinion on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight. He sees the matchup less as a genuine sporting contest and more as a calculated business decision. Cormier questioned the purpose of the fight, noting that Tank isn't someone chasing money. He's already established financially and widely recognized as a top-tier fighter. Because of this, Cormier finds the bout less compelling from a competitive angle, not due to a lack of skill, but because the outcome feels fairly predictable. He suggested the event is designed more to spark viral buzz and social media attention than to add meaningfully to boxing's competitive history. Cormier's viewpoint reflects the feelings of many veteran combat sports fans who worry that spectacle-driven fights are starting to take precedence over those based on genuine merit. His comments contribute a critical perspective to the ongoing conversation about how modern boxing balances true sport with entertainment marketing, where visibility and profits sometimes overshadow legacy and competition.
I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
he's been a world champion so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and Jose Sulaiman was very upset that he wasn't gonna be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's the thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing, but with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 136 pounds.
That's a wrap for today's analysis. Stay tuned. There's plenty more excitement on the way. Catch you next time.